as we face the virulent outbreak of COVID-19. Still, the entertaining world of boxing, consistently writing history for all the warriors we considered as the modern gladiator. Since then, the competition was tight, full of actions with a few drops of drama.
Scared of the real man. I'll fuck you till you love me, faggot. Quick, Joe.
As the time passes by, the fight game is changing and getting more intense.
He's been here before, he done broke records here before, he's a legend of the sport, and it'd be my honor to fight him next.
Is that the fight you want next, Manny?
Boxers struggling for their legacies, boxers chasing bounty, and some fighting for the pride of their country.
¡Viva México, cabrones!
Now boxing world will show us again, in the way, on how it is meant to be.
And Spence puts him back down, and that's it.
Is this the ascension of a future pound-for-pound?
We'll give the fans a good fight.
Welcome to a Fight Breakdown, presented by Boring Media. Recognized as the only boxer who held world titles in 4 different decades and stated in the Book of Guinness World Records as the only fighter who became a champion in 8 different divisions.
And only 8-division champion of the world, introducing the one and only Manny Pacquiao.
Hands up by Pacquiao. Tries to come back and capitalize. Marquez wants an answer right away.
Masters the artistry of boxing for 26 long years. And now, out of his prime, yet still willing to exchange fires with young guns. The 42-years-old legend and a future Hall of Famer will always be questioned by many.
You're the last of your era, Manny. Cotto's gone, Floyd's gone, Barrera, Morales gone, Marquez gone. You're like the last of the Mohicans. How do you stay so motivated still? What motivates you?
The support of the fans, the Filipino people, my countrymen, their support, and boxing is my passion, like I said, and then I'm still here.
In his 40s, Pac-Man outclassed Adrian Broner and returned all trash talk by a unanimous decision victory.
Still WWE welterweight champion.
We're going to conduct this professionally. We're not going to have an interview. You make the decision. What did you think about the fight?
I beat him. Everybody out there know I beat him. Everybody out there know I beat him. I controlled the fight. He was missing. I hit him clean more times. I beat him.
Dismantled the arrogance of young and unbeaten champion Keith "One-Time" Thurman and marked it as a message that no boxers will dictate the ending of his career.
Manny Pacquiao, T-Rex arms. Bop, bop, bop.
After demonstrating his vigorous condition and leaves no signs of aging, once again, Pacquiao awakened the interest of boxing's biggest names.
Now we're going to go back to the drawing board and try to revisit that fight with Manny Pacquiao.
You wanted it. The money was there. It had been committed. It was a fight that was going to take place in a country in the Mideast. That country said, you can't do it because I can't guarantee that we'll allow spectators.
A put-back deal against Terence Crawford, and the failed face-off against his former sparring partner Mikey Garcia in Dubai.
Be tremendous. It would be a great thing for my legacy, to get in the ring with an all-time great like Manny.
Finally, after a few failed business, MP Promotion found the next opponent for the living legend. Errol, the Truth Spence Jr., the 31-years-old fighter remains unbeaten and currently held unified welterweight champion belts. Accepted the challenge in honor of Manny Pacquiao's greatness.
He been here before, he done broke records here before, he's a legend of the sport, and it'd be my honor to fight him next.
Is that the fight you want
A
next,
former
Manny?
3-time U.S. national champion, Olympian, America's representative in 2012 Summer Olympics. In 2019, Spence stopped the 4-division champ, Mikey Garcia, in a one-sided match on its first step to the welterweight division.
He's not landing. Well, he's landing there right now. Very solid stuff.
The IBF welterweight champion of the world, boxing's pride of Dallas, Texas, the Truth, Errol.
6 months later, the war against Showtime Sean Porter in the unification of WBC and IBF welterweight belts. Two warriors give their very best and turn the show into a classic showdown where they fought with passion, courage, and determination to prove who is the best man inside the boxing ring. October 10, 2019, Errol was played by his destiny, where he'd been involved in a car accident
was Errol Spence Jr. He's
that put him in the most defining moment of his life. Luckily, Spence survived and got only wounds and has no bone fractures. Fight fans wondered if Spence can overcome the tragic event that diverts his momentum in his domination of the welterweight division.
And I'm gonna do everything it takes in my power to come back. That's what I did. I just used my mind and my body. You know, got out here and just worked for it and worked hard. And, you know, now I'm back and now I'm fighting on probably the biggest show of the year.
A year later, Spence recovers and put in a first test against the Philadelphian Pride, Danny "Swift" Garcia.
Such a complete boxer, but there's a hard left hand by Errol Spence who drives Garcia back.
To the body. He hit him to the body for sure. Danny
Just like that, Spence put a solid statement of his comeback and proved to the boxing world that the truth will always be the truth. May 22, 2021, Pac-Man officially confirmed his next opponent, facing Errol Spence Jr. on the 21st of August that will take place in Las Vegas, Nevada. Enter Tale of the Tape. Pacquiao is 11 years older than Spence. Spence is 3.5 inches taller than Pacquiao and has 5 inches advantage of reach. Pacquiao had 71 fights, 7 losses, 2 draws, and 39 coming by way of knockout. Spence got a perfect record of 27 wins, 21 knockouts with a 78% KO percentage compared to 55% of Manny Pacquiao. But stats are just stats, and the chance of winning always depends on the boxer's skills and mind. Well-planned strategy, laser-sharp focus, and the speed of making decisions in the quick battle of a chess match. Pacquiao and his unparalleled masterpiece will be tasted by Errol Spence Jr. on the 21st of August to seal his legacy as one of the greatest fighters who steps inside the boxing ring.
It could be his time. Maybe he can rise once again.
In Errol's perspective, the fight against Pacquiao would be the first step on his path to greatness. Who knows? Errol has a big chance to defeat Pacquiao, only if he utilizes height, long jabs, and successfully executes his vicious body shots and sweet hooks.
Errol Spence seems a lot younger, stronger. You know, he's in his prime. Might be a dangerous fight for Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao, on the other hand, loves to get into contact. His aggressiveness is nearly the same compared to his younger days. His flickering lights can still make a fire. The angles, speed, footwork, and the expected fireworks of punches still banging in spite of his age. The signature quick straight left, unpredictable combinations, and the finishing touch of his left hook are still dangerous for Spence.
Well, I still do favor Spence, just because size, same reasons why I favor myself, size, youth, and then ultimately, when was the last time we saw Pacquiao against a world-class southpaw?
Errol Spence Jr. is such a talented boxer. His technicalities, aggressiveness, and use of sweet science are undeniably remarkable and make a lot of room for confusion to his opponents. Always taking the advantage of his footwork, aggressive wrestling, and guard manipulation to outbox his opponents. The superiority inside the ring brought him always in his perfect position to execute solid combinations and land a vicious liver shot. Like most southpaws, Spence prefers to move on the inside and punish his opponents by blinding its view, then throw a solid combination before his opponent readjusts.
Errol's just too young, strong, good, too big. I don't think it's gonna be a good night for Manny Pacquiao.
The height and reach advantage of Errol Spence can maneuver Pacquiao by securing the distance using his long jabs, and his height to pressure Pacquiao by his wrestling capability. Meanwhile, the 42-year-old Pacquiao has nothing to prove. His resume is more than enough to consider as the great of the great, the most decorated boxer of all time, a master of his traps, the well-known volume puncher with the hyper burst of energy, speed, power, and the high amount of aggressiveness. The side-to-side angles makes his opponents feel like fighting an octopus because of his firing combination as he moves around.
With the Pacquiao, the motherfucker was fast, dude. I seen 3 of those motherfucking rings. I thought I was fighting an octopus.
Too bad you didn't hit all 3 of them.
I thought I was fighting an octopus in that bitch.
The southpaw war machine always makes a lot of frustration to his opponents because of his unpredictable and energetic tiring style. Though Spence is bigger in size, Pacquiao proves many times in his career that the height and reach advantage is just a matter of measurement, and demonstrates how the fight game can be dominated by the most skilled boxer.
And he needs to understand that Pacquiao's not going to only counter with one shot. He's going to counter with combinations. Combinations are coming your way, buddy, so you better get aware of those. And you're not going to be sitting there just trying to catch them shots like I see you do, Spence. I understand that. You're blocking shots. You're not going to block Manny Pacquiao all those punches he's throwing at you. Trust me on this.
Spence and Pacquiao are both southpaw, and the last southpaw that Manny fought is way back 11 years ago, against the former WBC lightweight champion, David Diaz. Pac-Man dominated Diaz and make him looks like a walking punching bag. But Spence is a very different story. Their similar stance leaves a big question mark on the boxing world.
And I don't count Pacquiao at all out. I mean, I think that he has the capability of doing it, of winning the fight. The question is he hungry enough? And the other side is, how is he gonna be fighting against a southpaw? He has to strategize against a southpaw, a taller southpaw who has a good reach and who has a good jab. When Spence jab, he moves his head here, boom, 1-2 jab, really fast. Or if Spence jab, he goes over here to throw an overhand or a straight. But it has to be done fast and quick, especially with the reach. Do I think he's capable of it? Absolutely.
Throwback 9 years, while Errol is fighting for the Olympic medal in 2012, Pacquiao is already known as the 8th division champion. After 4 decades of reign in boxing, Pacquiao still riding further, facing the prime Spence Jr. in an unanticipated matchup of the 21st century. We'll witness the real thrill of real boxing. Two different generations of gladiators, the legend in the making and the living legend, bravely step up to the ring for the sake of boxing.
Protect yourself at all times. God bless you both. Touch up.
On the 21st of August at MGM Grand Las Vegas, Nevada, the questions will be answered and the history will be made. Will Spence earn the torch of Manny Pacquiao?
Still, the undefeated unified WBC and IBF welterweight champion of the world.
Or the truth will be proven wrong.
World.